Thank you very much. My name is Lorraine Sibanda, and I am the president of StreetNet International. I am speaking on behalf of the International Domestic Workers Federation, IDWF, and Women in Informal Employment, Globalizing and Organizing, WIECO, which include representatives of HomeNet International and the Global Waste Pickers Alliance. Together, we are representing more than 2 million workers in the informal economy in more than 64 countries. Globally, we are the majority of the workforce, more than 61% of the world's workers, or 2 billion workers, earn a living in the informal economy. The majority are self-employed women. Some of us are working in an employment relationship, such as domestic workers and home workers. However, the more than 75 million domestic workers worldwide, out of 10 are working informally, and thus they are excluded from labor rights. 20 million domestic workers have obtained legal protection, but they are not adequately enforced in practice. Our work may be in the informal economy, but it is a vital contributor to the formal economy, to local communities, and to the nations worldwide. We are in solidarity with all workers in the informal and formal economy, and we address you, delegates to the Parliament of Labour, to recognize us in the informal economy as workers who must be able to access workers' rights and protection from which we are currently excluded. The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted us in a particularly devastating way and has revealed a structural contradiction. On the one hand, we have been increasingly recognized as essential workers, but on the other hand, the workers who perform this work are not valued. The COVID-19 pandemic has intensified inequality in most of our lives. Despite a pre-pandemic modest decrease in the number of people living in extreme poverty, the COVID-19 pandemic saw, for the first time in 21 years, the number of extremely poor people increase between March and December 2020 by up to 224 million people. At the same time, the wealth of billionaires increased by over 3.9 trillion US dollars. Informality is fueled by and intensifies existing inequalities. The recovery of the economies and post-pandemic societies require reconciling this structural contradiction and demands more than ever solutions with a gender equity perspective, where the role of workers in the informal economy as public health agents, care workers, workers at the end of supply chains, service providers, and workers contributing to the economic growth of societies is at the center and at the forefront of the fight against poverty and inequality. The ILO must play a leading role in coordinating at the multilateral level to reduce inequality in global post-COVID recovery plans. The importance of international labor standards with regards to ratification and implementation have to be recognized in this regard. We workers in the informal economy demand the following: respecting fundamental workers' rights and ensuring opportunities for income security and livelihoods based on the principle of doing no harm. The fair and just transition from the informal to the formal economy needs to be fast-tracked and integrated in all post-lockdown economic recovery processes. that must be human-centered and based on the provisions of the ILO Recommendation 204. The ratification and implementation of Convention 190 must be applied also to workers in the informal economy. Violence at the workplaces, public or private, including evictions, goods confiscation, sexual harassment, and violence, have to stop. Invisible workers in the informal economy, such as domestic workers and home workers, must not be forgotten. Sector-based instruments, such as Convention 177 on homework, or the Homework Convention, and Convention 189, Domestic Workers Convention, covering many women workers in the informal economy, will contribute to decreasing inequality if ratified and implemented. Universal social protection based on our contributory capacity is key for workers in the informal economy. During the COVID-19 crisis, national emergency programs often did not cover or did not reach workers in the informal economy. Our organization stepped in and played a central role in providing relief, addressing most urgent needs, such as food security. We need a structural change which ensures access to social protection for all in need, with reference to Recommendation 202, including workers in the informal economy. For domestic workers and home workers, we need compulsory social protection systems to which employers contribute. To ensure sustainability development, the promotion of cooperatives and other social solidarity economic units can smoothly facilitate a new model of work and production which is equitable and redistributive, and which recognizes and values all forms of work. Last but not least, we demand representation and bargaining power. In many ILO instruments relevant to workers in the informal economy, direct representation of the workers concerned is stipulated, such as Convention 177, Convention 189, Recommendation 202, and Recommendation 204. As many organizations of workers in the informal economy are affiliated to trade unions. In many countries, organizations of informal economy workers are already included in bargaining forums at local and national level, including tripartite consultation and decision-making mechanisms, where policies that affect their working conditions and livelihoods are designed, implemented, and monitored. This needs to become common practice. Nothing for us without us. I thank you.